up, everybody? It's your favorite Jackuian's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Vintage Collection Ray. Some interesting pros and cons with this one, but in order to get to that, we have to first get to accessories, of which she comes with a lot of, one of which being her pistol with silver paint applied to it and decent enough sculpt work. She'll hold it just fine, but as you can see, it doesn't fit quite right in the holster, and as a result, I broke mine. And that is a real bummer. You see how tight it is to get through with that little strap? That's what made it happen, folks. Real bummer. She comes with her staff. It actually has a fair amount of paint work, metallic plastic, and then the brown paint added, and then the beige paint added. And it's quite nice. A little bended up. What's wrong with me? Bent up. So not the best in that regard. I don't know how they can fix stuff like that without using better materials that I'm sure Hasbro just won't use due to kind of the safety practices in regards to this country. But overall, a decent kind of attempt. She'll hold that just fine. And you can kind of finagle this to get around, but it doesn't really work because of her new kind of knapsack thing. Yeah, it's not the best. And then it gets bent up. It's just... They got to use better materials if they're going to use thinner plastics. I mean, same for the gun, right? She comes with the lightsaber hilt. We have silver paint and gold paint on it. You can see where it was mended. No place to hang it, but she'll hold it just fine. And then she comes with her proper lightsaber. We have the metallic kind of silver and gold, and then we have the transparent blue. You know what I want, white rod up through the center. I'm going to keep mentioning it until it's done. She'll hold that just fine as well. And let's talk about the figure. First and foremost, this is the first 3 3/4 figure I have seen with the kind of digital face paint application, and it is stunning. Really great job. Like, the likeness is not 100%, not by a long shot, but just the quality of the application for this scale is really breathtaking at this price point. Quite impressive. And the hair is sculpted and painted on, double ball peg, and the head gets you from the head to the neck, down to there, up to there, swivel, attitude, etc. So all of that works well. We have this kind of satchel that sits over. It kind of gets in the way, but it's not the biggest deal in the world with the silver paint applied there, but not on the back, which is interesting. It's pretty much the same as the Black Series. I'm wondering if it's not just like the engineering is swapped out and scaled down, because like even this hood piece is like a separate piece. The layers here are a separate piece, like exactly like the Black Series. Disc hinge shoulder gets you out to there and around, and then we have that painted on as well as the armband brown there. Same engineering here, but look at that range. It's better, plus the bicep swivel. So that's nice. The armbands are painted on as well and sculpted nicely. Same thing here, no armband on the bicep, and you have the two on the lower forearm. Single ball peg from the pelvis into the abdomen. Not a whole lot on the ball peg, just pretty much the swivel. We have this softer piece of plastic here, which once again, much like the Black Series, gets in the way of articulation. This time even worse because the holster is glued into the leg, so you pretty much lose the entire outward leg movement, and you only get kind of the forward and back, and even that is limited. So that is a huge fail. Thigh swivel. And then we have the same engineering at the knee, which is a disc hinge that plugs into the thigh, which will get you an additional swivel as well that's redundant and you don't need. Then we have the boots, and they swivel up here, and they swivel down here, and then the sole is painted. Now, one other thing I want to mention is that the feet, because of the thin plastic, once again, look how they're bowed out. Not good. Not good at all. And because there's no ankle rocker, there's no way to fix it. It's almost like they belong on the wrong feet, you know what I mean? But the sculpt is right for the way that they're sort of assembled. So that's kind of a bummer. So it's interesting because there's a lot of really great and kind of new and innovative and fascinating things here. And then at the same time, it's juxtaposed with a few things that just aren't done extremely well. And there she is on my resistance shelf. You know, fits in quite nicely. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to end up doing this with all the different rays, but that's a good looking shelf. A lot of those browns and stuff, like it's really unified. I dig that. Final thoughts wise, let's talk about the negatives. First and foremost, they can't use these thin plastics if they're going to use the same quality grade plastic for them. They don't hold up well, they bend, they warp, or they break, as we've seen all across the board here. Secondly, they're softer plastics. They don't work, not on the Ray figure, because it really inhibits the articulation. We've seen it in the Black Series, and now we're seeing it on the Vintage Collection. The Vintage Collection is supposed to be using soft goods here and there. This would have been the perfect time for it. It wouldn't have inhibited the articulation, and it would have looked interesting in a higher grade collectible, which the Vintage Collection is supposed to do. Positives wise, it comes with a ton of accessories. The sculpt is amazing. The face paint for this scale is probably the best I've ever seen from Hasbro on the Vintage Collection, and far exceeded my expectation. On top of that, the articulation that does work works well, but it is largely inhibited by the softer plastics. So it's a fair recommend for me, but not a strong recommend. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.